salt.
When entertaining guests, it's always nice to have a dish that packs a certain wow effect. And nothing does that better than salt roasting. Taking a beautiful mound of salt out of the oven, ceremoniously bringing it to the table, then cracking it open to reveal a perfectly cooked dish is certain to impress all. And if that were not enough, your guests will even be more impressed when they capture the aroma and taste and how flavorful the dish is. Salt roasting is achieved by surrounding the raw food with a thick layer of salt and roasting it. And as the food roasts, the salt forms a sealed shell around it, perfectly cooking it. Nothing escapes, as all the aroma and the flavor are trapped in the salt encasing. The technique also imparts a fantastic texture due to that unique mixture of roasting and medium pressure steaming. Salt roasting is great for fish, a whole variety of large meat cuts, medium meat cuts, and even whole chickens. It's even suitable for larger vegetables such as potatoes and carrots. Now here are the ingredients that you will need for today's salt roasted chicken. You'll need 1 chicken, 4 to 5 pounds, 1 lemon, which I'll show you how to roll out and puncture, 4 to 5 cups of kosher salt, and a few sage leaves if you want. You'll also need some egg whites, which can be from the raw eggs or from pasteurized whites that you can buy in a carton. Now you start off by preheating the oven to 410 degrees. In the meantime, take the whole chicken and make sure you remove the bag of giblets if it has one. Rinse with cold water and carefully pat dry inside and out with a paper towel. Now you have to make sure that whatever comes in contact with the raw chicken is thoroughly washed, sanitized, and dried afterwards. You don't want your kitchen to be a source of cross-contamination. If you want some more information on keeping your kitchen spick and span and preventing cross-contamination, you can read a book that I wrote a few years ago called Food Alert. Okay, now here we go. First thing you do is you roll out the lemon a few times and puncture it with a toothpick. And then all you do is you insert it into the cavity of the chicken, like so. The next step is totally optional, but you might like to place some sage leaves under the chicken skin like this. First of all, you cut off the sage leaves, and then you simply insert them underneath the skin of the chicken. And you've got to lift this up, put your finger underneath the space, and then you just insert the sage leaves. And they give an awful lot of flavor to the chicken. It's a bit messy, but it really transfers the flavor to the meat. But as I said, it's entirely optional. If you don't like to get your hands messy, just don't do it. Now we come to an important part of all of this, is trussing up the chicken. Now the first thing that you do is you turn the chicken around so that it's facing you, and you get a little trussing string. It should be about 2 arm lengths, and you kind of divide it in 2. And this is the way you truss a chicken. It's not difficult. First of all, you go around the chicken's tail and you tie a slight knot here. And then the next thing that you do is you tie up the chicken legs. And here you do, in a sense, a double crossover, like this. And like that you have the chicken's legs close by this way. You go down the thighs and then you turn the chicken over. Make sure that you fold the wing tips back, and then you take the string, tie it around the wing tips, fold it over twice, and then bring it all together. And you can tie it into a knot right over there. And once that's done, make sure you trim the string. And that's it. There you have a nicely trussed chicken. And if you can't truss a chicken, who can you truss? Now line a baking dish big enough to hold a chicken with foil. And I have one done over here. Just keep it aside, move the chicken aside for a moment, and now you can start making the salt shell. Now I've already put some of the salt in the bowl. Here's the rest of it. And then what we do is we add the egg whites. And we add the egg whites basically to make sure that the salt holds together once we have it all around the chicken. So this is not very difficult. There we go. Okay, now once all that's done, what you do is you start off by placing a small amount of salt on the bottom of a dish that's going to hold the chicken during the roasting. You try to spread it out a little bit, as much as you can. Should be big enough to make sure that you cover the bottom of the chicken well. Then you simply place the chicken on top of that. Okay, and you start covering it with the salt. Takes a little bit of time to do it carefully. You don't want too thick a layer because you want to make sure it gets cooked. Now, you can use a little bit of water if you want to, just to make sure that all the seams are sealed. And I think we're okay with this. Now, once that's done, you just have to put the chicken into the preheated oven and cook it for an hour to an hour and a half. There's a little bit of flexibility with this, so don't worry about it. Okay, it looks like it's time for the chicken to be ready, taken out. Here we go. Here we go. Here's a salt roasted chicken. Okay, now, if your guests are ready, you can remove the dish from the oven and just go ahead and serve it. But usually it's best to let it rest about 15 minutes before removing the crust. Now, in front of company, you can break open the salt crust with a large knife or a mallet. Kids love to do this, but you have to make sure they don't smash the chicken to smithereens. Now, once broken, now let's try to do this here. Gently pull the crust away, and there we have our beautiful salt roasted chicken. Now take a look at that. Isn't that beautiful? You can see the leaves underneath the skin. Look how beautiful that is. Here's a large section coming away. There we go. Now I don't mind serving it this way, but you may want to color it a little bit with perhaps some paprika just on the top if you want to give it a little bit of color here and there. And make sure you get all the salt off, pick it all out very carefully before you present it. And then you can serve it at the table. It carves beautifully and it tastes even better. There we have it. Salt roasted chicken. Enjoy.
Salt.